Welcome to Year of Connection, a year-long journey toward becoming whole self-connected. I'm your host, Pauline Shu. March is here, and in like a lion, as the saying goes. Here in New England, at least, the weather has been wet and chilly since the start of the month, though we had been blessed with some unseasonably gorgeous days before then. The weather pattern is similar, in fact, to the topic I addressed in February's letter, the flow in our lives from one season to the next through ups and downs. If you haven't yet subscribed to my monthly letter and would like to start receiving it on the last day of every month, it's easy to sign up on my website at yearofconnection.com. Today, we'll be talking about what I hope will be a fun process for you. This episode's topic is on joining something. Whether an in-person club or online group, we'll discuss why joining is important, what kinds of activities work best for you to join, and how to join with enthusiasm. We've come so far since the first episode at the start of January. Have you continued to keep your life notes? I hope so, because today, as part of the discussion around what to join, we'll be consulting those observations and forming a best bet conclusion for where to take this next step. Whether you had 50 core connections on your list or one, or even none, if you've been moving through these weeks with an eye toward creating a strong foundation for connection, this is the opportunity to form relationships that rely on this new solid base you've built over the past couple of months. Sometimes it's difficult to know where to start when you want to connect with others. Maybe you're not sure how, or maybe you're afraid. And sometimes fear is healthy, but often we allow our fear to get in the way, and that will be something to consider when you're evaluating what the best group might be for you to join. So why is joining important for connection? Well, in its simplest answer, joining is almost synonymous with connecting. Being a part of something, and even better if you can be a part of something bigger than yourself, automatically implies inclusion and cohesion. In a sense, protection and togetherness. It's a natural human desire to want closeness for the sake of safety and comfort, and that's what joining something can bring you. And when you feel safe enough to be your authentic self, the bonds you form based on your true personality are that much stronger. Along those lines, the thing you join should be something you like. Not only is it difficult to pretend enthusiasm for something you can't stand, or goodness, to be the critical complainer in a group that is otherwise having a good time. Pretending to like something, to be something you're not, goes against what we're trying to achieve in this year. Now, I know that might sound obvious, but so many of us are trained to feign excitement or to feign happiness that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to break out of that habit. But in this case, when we look at the kinds of activities that would be best for you to join, let's look only at things you already enjoy. That's where the process might start to get tricky. You might really enjoy watching figure skating, for example, but if you have a knee prone to tendonitis like I do, then you'll not likely be taking up skating lessons. In this case, we have to consider both what you enjoy and what you're capable of. This is where those life notes can come in handy. If you've been keeping them up, take some time to look back at them. It might require a day or two to go through everything, but I want you to ask yourself first whether you might need to tweak the core values you came up with based on the themes that had emerged initially. Does anything there need adjustment? And if so, what about your standards of behavior? Do those need adjusting too? Go ahead, spend some time, and do that first. Then after that, whether or not you change anything in your core values or your standards of behavior, make a list of the 10 or 20 topics and activities that you enjoy the most. For example, my list has reading at the top because I don't know what I would do without books. I also love doing learning activities with my children. I like backyard farming, sewing, hiking and running, wildflowers, physics, and doing crafts. In other words, allow your list to be all over the place if that is the way in which it best represents the things that you enjoy the most. There are no limits to this list. It has to be a starting point for inspiration. Now, based on your core values and standards of behavior, which may or may not have been revised, consider each topic that you enjoy and detail out ways in which it might be supported through an activity that also reinforces those core values, as well as includes other people who share your standards of behavior. This is not a small task, I grant you, but there are some items that might be more obvious than others. When I listed my favorite activities, I included reading. Belonging to a book club is a great way to join something with like-minded people that supports the activity I enjoy. Because one of my core values is to be a welcoming person who creates the desire to be welcoming in others, one way in which I might ask to participate in a book club would be to offer to host one or more of the meetings. I might even want to start my own book club if I can't find one that already exists. That would make it even more likely that I would find a good fit for my values and standards, coupled with an activity I love. Perhaps you're someone who enjoys looking at old photos. In that case, what you join could be anything from the local historical society to a photography club or class. You might want to explore your spirituality, in which case a church or temple could be a good option for you. A gym, a quilting circle, the parent-teacher organization at your child's school, any activity that supports the positive traits in your life and in yourself is a great place to start. Consider, too, that if you are a more introverted person, or if you have time or physical constraints, you don't have to join in person. There are so many Facebook groups, online forums, and web-based classes for different interests and hobbies. This is one of those instances where, back in episode 7, I talked about how technology has brought us many great things. Connecting people around the globe who have shared interests is one of those great things. Although, of course, be mindful of the amount of time you spend online, even if it involves participation in the group. Connecting with others online is wonderful to a certain degree, but it should never take away from your ability to connect offline as well. Finally, let's talk about how to join. In this case, I don't mean the steps toward membership. I'm referring to your attitude when you join. If you become a part of something and then you just sit around like a lump and don't really participate, that doesn't support the spirit of connection. If you think about joining a group but can't muster up the enthusiasm to become truly involved, it's often better not to join at all. It doesn't mean you have to offer to chair the next major fundraiser or become the website administrator or something arduous and highly visible. It simply means that you have to give of yourself, attention, time, and positivity. When you join with enthusiasm, you are supporting the other people in that group in something positive. And if you act in that way, that allows you to imagine if maybe they were to make a list of all the people they know, you might just fall under the category of those who support the things they like about themselves, then you're doing an excellent job of being a part of the group with enthusiasm. The flip side is that you might not connect deeply with anyone in the group. But as long as you are joining, and joining truly, you will have something to share with others that is fun and good about yourself. When you speak to people outside the group about what you're doing, that's another opportunity for connection. A last word of caution. Be wary of groups that are exclusive instead of inclusive. In other words, certainly some clubs will have technical requirements like that you must know how to operate a camera if you want to enroll in an advanced photography course. But if that same course required you to have a certain hair color or be from a certain socioeconomic demographic, it is most likely not an endeavor that is going to bridge gaps and support valued connections. When we talk about connection in this podcast, we are transcending the physical and material and going straight for the soul. Anything that excludes, based on the way someone looks, how much money they have, or things that don't have to do with the fundamental human spirit should be groups that you at least think very critically about joining before becoming involved. As you move forward, don't forget to keep taking those life notes over time, especially once you've joined the group you think best fits your values, standards, and interests. It is both helpful and, honestly, really fun to look back after some time and see how much and in which ways you've grown with every step toward the deepening of connection. If you have a story or a question about joining that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it. You can leave a comment on this show's post or send me an email. And if you've enjoyed listening to this episode or any other Year of Connection episodes, consider leaving a rating or a review on iTunes or any other app that you're listening on. Reviews help other listeners to find the content that's right for them, and I certainly appreciate them. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, I wish you safe travels.